Liu Yutong was absolutely confident. She was at the 8th layer of element gathering tier, while Ling Zhongquan was only at the 6th layer of element gathering tier. Even though there was only 2 layers difference between the two, one was from the late stage of element gathering, while the other was only in the middle stage. This was the difference of a major level. Ling Zhongquan was both shocked and angered. Miss Liu, are you really going to help this little beast? Old dog, watch what you say, Ling Han said unhurriedly from the side. These words completely infuriated Ling Zhongquan and his companions. You keep saying old dog this, old dog that, and yet you want others to watch their mouths? So the magistrate is free to burn down houses, yet the commoners are forbidden to even light lamps? Too overbearing. Ling Han smiled calmly. He was overbearing, but what of it? In his previous life, he was famous for sweeping his mistakes under the rug and helping those close to him, no matter whether they were in the right or in the wrong. In front of outsiders, he would defend his people. Whoever was in the right or in the wrong, he'd discuss that behind closed doors later. Ling Zhongquan, his sons and grandson, had gone much too far. With his personality, it'd be strange if he could tolerate such a thing. Liu Yutong did not respond. Her graceful figure flew out as if she was a goddess from heaven, both hands pressing onto Ling Zhongquan, without any ferocity and displaying a sense of unworldly beauty. However, Ling Zhongquan naturally did not feel this way. Cold sweat had already gathered on his forehead. He was in the middle stage of element gathering tier, but the other was in the late stage of that tier. This was an unbreachable gulf. But Ling Zhongquan definitely did not want to be thrashed by Ling Han, this piece of trash, even more so since the latter was a member of the younger generation. Thus, he had to resist with all his might. Even if resistance was futile, he would flee if it came to the worst. Pang! He launched the Ling Clan's special skill, 3 flip hands, and advanced towards Liu Yutong. This was a martial skill from the medium level of yellow grade and was also one of the 3 special skills belonging to the Ling Clan. With these 3 skills, Ling Clan became one of the 2 most powerful clans in Grey Cloud Town. The power of these skills was naturally fearsome. Unfortunately, his opponent happened to be Liu Yutong. Snapping of the plum hands! The icy beauty spat out lightly. Her small hands smoothly turned over, both as a clap and as a touch. Her movement was indescribably graceful, but its power was extremely fearsome. Her hands drew past, and Ling Zhongquan could only repeatedly retreat, his whole face turning red. Snapping of the plum hands, a martial skill from the high level of yellow grade. His cultivation was suppressed. His martial skills were suppressed. If there was any advantage that Ling Zhongquan could claim over his opponent, then that would be multiple years' worth of battle experience he had. But the problem was that Liu Yutong was a genius of martial Dao. Although she did not have adequate experience, she had a shocking battle comprehension ability that could completely compensate for her inferior battle experience. How could Ling Zhongquan not lose? Through only 50 or 60 moves, Ling Zhongquan was completely restrained. His Dantian was restrained, his origin energy could not be circulated, and he was no stronger than a commoner. Grandfather! Father! Ling Muyun and the rest were all shouting. They wanted to rush forward, but were too afraid of Liu Yutong's ability and could only look at Ling Han with fury. They were completely devoid of any intention of self-reflecting and only felt that it was all Ling Han's fault. If Ling Han had not appeared, then matters would have proceeded as they had planned. Ling Han looked at Liu Yutong and said, "If you make a slight change to your battle style, you will be even more powerful. For example, during your 17th move, you only had to further lower your right hand, and with your left hand clapping 2 inches further forward, you would have already restrained your opponent." Liu Yutong had not been convinced at first. She only thought that Ling Han had found some kind of ancient treasury and had thus obtained high-level secret arts. Thus, he was able to use 2 verbal chants to allow the barrier she faced to loosen and make her soon be able to break through. But now that she recalled the previous battle, the expression on her face changed slightly. Ling Han was right. If she had done as he just said, she would have been able to end this battle much sooner. She could not help feeling a little reverence towards Ling Han. His insight was too fearsome. Ling Han smiled internally. Who was he? 10,000 years ago, he was considered a royal existence in the world of martial arts. Don't tell me that he would not be able to subdue a little girl? He walked towards Xuanhuan and raised his right hand. Little beast, you dare! Xuanhuan glared. If he were to be thrashed by Ling Han, how would he face others in future? Pa! Ling Han's palm descended without any hesitation, giving Xuanhuan a heavy slap. Sigh! The other 3 members of the Ling clan and the 5 maidservants simultaneously took in a breath of cold air. He actually did it. The Grand Chief Butler of the Ling clan was actually publicly slapped by a person everyone acknowledged as trash. Sss, no wonder this old dog has such thick skin. Just hitting him hurts my hand. Ling Han said with bared teeth. This was natural. Body refining tear meant to use origin power to refine each part of the body and to allow every muscle to be filled with origin power. Every punch and kick would release a fearsome amount of power. Xuanhuan was already in the element gathering tier and has already completely passed through the body refining tier. Thus, his face was naturally completely refined by origin power. Someone from the middle stage of body refining tier may not even able to truly injure him and only cause him a small pain. To cause him to bleed would require the use of weapons. However, now it was no longer the issue of being injured, but of humiliation. Slapped by a piece of trash who was also a younger relative at the 2nd layer of body refining tier. Moreover, this was done in front of 5 maidservants. What kind of great humiliation was this? If this matter spread out, how would he be able to face others in future? Xuanhuan's eyes were about to spit fire. He shouted loudly, Little beast, this matter would not end like this. You will definitely regret this. Definitely. You actually dare to threaten me in front of my follower. What stupidity! Ling Han sighed and asked Lu Yutong, Someone is threatening your master? What do you say we should do? Lu Yutong's beautiful face twitched. She was the princess of the Lu clan. How could she be able to get used to being someone's follower? However, she was still someone who kept her promises. So she immediately asked, Do you need me to kill him? Hearing these words, the 2 sons of Ling Xuanhuan and Ling Muyun were shocked. Ling Xuanhuan was their backbone, the tree that held up their sky. If Ling Xuanhuan died, then they too would lose all the power they had in the Ling clan. Ling Han shook his head with a smile. This old dog belongs to my father, so my father should be the one to get rid of him. But he snapped off a table leg and weighed it in his hand. He will not be punished with death, but he will not be able to escape another punishment. Peng! He raised the table leg and smacked it on Ling Xuanhuan's face. After a heavy sound rang out, Ling Xuanhuan opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood and broken teeth. Old dog, my father is risking his life, yet you snatch away his hope. Don't you think you deserve some thrashing? You have your son and grandson, and my father doesn't? Yesterday, you counted on the fact that you were stronger than me, and cruelly beat me to the point of serious injury. Is this the kind of attitude an older relative should have? Since you are without shame and don't want to act as an older relative, then why do I still have to bother thinking of your face and treat you as an elder? Ling Han thrashed him as he talked. A few hits afterwards, Ling Zhongquan's hair was already all over the place, his face covered with blood. He had already lost at least half the teeth in his mouth. However, although Ling Zhongquan looked pitiful, it did not matter how serious his external injury was, as he would be able to recover from it quickly, thanks to the powerful life energy of a martial artist. It'd take an internal injury to actually endanger his life. Thus, Ling Han continued thrashing him cheerfully, completely unconcerned that he could actually beat the other to death. Ling Zhongquan no longer made any sound, but he swore in his heart that, in the future, when he had the ability to surpass Ling Dongxing, he would definitely tear this pair of father and son into pieces. My hand's getting tired. Ling Han threw away the stick and said, Yutong, accompany me on a trip. You Yutong? Lu Yutong suddenly felt a shiver. This manner of address really gave her goosebumps. 1N. Just in case you feel confused by it, in China, one doesn't simply address a senior, or anyone of higher status, or someone of equal status you don't know well, using their first name. While there are ways to act even more chummy, This would be like a random peasant addressing Queen Elizabeth using just the name Elizabeth.